Going live. Oh, that's good. I love to go live. That going live keeps me alive. That makes any sense. um, Today I'm continuing with the this series that I'm doing, and that on mediumship and psychic support. But today I want to talk about the meeting of your spirit guide, and that now it's either the meeting of your spirit guide or it's on being introduced to your spirit guide. Now, what it means by being your spirit guide, that that's something that's usually done. Hey, Tinker, it's usually done through well, first of all, quietude for one thing, and then meditation, and that. But this is basically for people that, like, you not only have to have an open mind, but you know what? You got to open up your mind, open up your heart, and open up the soul. And that, and I think the best area uh, to do this kind of thing, okay, will be in an area where there's quiet, no distraction. Um, Make sure that there's nothing going on around you. Um, Make sure that you got time just for yourself, and that. And I would give yourself at least half an hour to an hour, at least. And also, it does also hurt to have some soothing background music. You know, like um, the classical kind of music. Like Bach, Beethoven, you know, Mozart. That kind of music, but not have it really loud, but have it soft and tranquil. Okay. And there's also another kind of soothing kind of sounds too. And some people actually love the sound of waterfalls. Other people like the sounds of the ocean. Other people love the sound of you know anything that's considered tranquil. Oh, and nature. That's another very popular sound for people that are, especially for people that are real nature enthusiasts. And they're really, they feel really, they belong to the Mother Earth. They're really grounded to Mother Earth. And that, anything like that, that would make you feel soothed and that. So if you're in your place of solitude, okay, no one's going to bother you, okay, and that, close your eyes and forget about anything that's around you, okay? Completely take all the worries and pressures and nonsense of this world, block it out. I know it's hard to do. Try to block it out. Say, okay, I'm worried about this and this. Off to the side. This is time just for me, and that. And while listening to it, and that, to you can almost say it in prayer state, and that uh, and like send down mental thoughts, because that's actually a very powerful way that your spirit can actually interact with you, and that, so especially at first, I found, is by saying out thoughts, basically saying, I open up my soul, I open up my spirit, and that I want to be introduced to my spiritual guide, my spiritual leader. And by the way, your spirit guide, believe it or not, was actually designated to you the day that you were born. So it's taken that long from the time you were born up until now. He or she has been waiting very, very patiently for you to call out to him, call out to her, and that. And it can be something that you might know. It might not be something that you don't know. It doesn't really matter. And that, you see, the one thing that makes this person special to you, okay, is the compatibility between you and your guide. Okay, because in a way, you and your guide will soon become one. Just like my guide and myself are absolute best of friends. We get along so well. You know, we have so many things in common that he can actually finish my own thoughts. You know, and the advice he gives me is absolutely amazing. See, and unfortunately, I never met him when he was when when he was on the earth here, and that I never met him to talk. Or a couple years after he passed, that's when I found out who my guide was. But when I connected with him, I felt as though that I had known him all my life. Like I felt this instant bond. Well, that's the way it is with you and your spirit guide. Okay, you will feel the compatibility, you will feel the compassion, and you'll feel the love. But you also feel the concern as well. Because the chances are there's going to be stuff that he or she is going to want to teach you, but you'll want to get to know that person as well. And that so by setting out thoughts to your guide and just introducing yourself and welcoming that person into your space and saying, okay, I'd like to know you better. I'd like to experience you better. And I'd like to know more about you, what you did when you're on the earth plane, and that. And just basically having a first time chat, but mentally, and that. And it's hard to believe that you may only feel like it's only been a few minutes when you've been interacting with your guide, and that, but you'd be amazed how fast time can go when you're so engrossed in being introduced to your guide. Now, if your guide doesn't come to you right away, okay, that 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 could mean that your guide is helping someone else, or the timing is not right. But that guide is designated to you, and that. But see, and but see, it has to do with God, not our timing, our scheduling, but God's timing. Okay, as two completely separate uh, times. And don't forget, in the spirit world, there is no time. So whatever time there is God's schedule. This what do you call it? The spiritual guidelines, the spiritual schedule. Okay, that's when the guide responds to someone on the earth plane according to the spiritual schedule. And when on the spiritual schedule, when the guy says, "Okay, now you can go down and be introduced to your, you know, your new best friend on the earth plane." So usually, sometimes it may take a little while. You might have to call out to your guide a few times, and also they may also thank you. They may also wait for you to call out to your guide, either mentally or verbally. Say, "Okay, my guide, I welcome you here with open arms and an open heart, and that I welcome you to come to me. We get to know each other, and that because sometimes the guide wants to come to you, but there's something wrong down here, okay? Because sometimes your mind might not be fully open, or your heart might not be fully open. Okay, you might be holding something back. Okay, so basically, for your guide to come to see you or to be introduced to you, and that you have to be open to him or her. Okay, that could be another reason why for some people that uh, when they call up to the guides, that the guides don't come. It's because there's something stopping them, and sometimes having a closed mind or you're worried about something you're not fully fully concentrating on him or her, that they cannot come down. But once you're fully open, and that come down, they can come down, be introduced, and I tell you, is during the introduction part that for some mediums it can be very emotional. I know it was for me when I met my guy for the very first time. Okay, I was in tears. My wife was in tears because my guide is her father, and he died years before I met her. So basically, there was a lot of emotion and stuff. But but once we got through the emotion part, that's when the reminiscing started. And believe it or not, years later, we still reminisce. Sure, he does his job as my guide and that, but he also acts his role as my father-in-law and that. And you could say for a guy, yeah, that when he was on the earth plane, he did a lot of things. Well, in the heavenly realm, and that he wears many hats. Okay, like this guy's amazing, and that, and it depends on who your guide is, and for some people, you might have more than one guide. Okay, you might have two or three guides from different times, because don't forget that for those who are really into reincarnation, okay, you may have a guide for each time level. Hold on a second. What's that? Yep. Sorry about that. You see, you might have a guide for each time level that you were on the earth plane, and that. See, it's hard for me to explain exactly how many guides you'd have and where they're from, but this is what I was shown, and that. But for me, and that I have one guide, and then I was introduced to a month or two ago or something like that. My spiritual security guard, because he's my gatekeeper, Jeffrey, and that. And that's something else too that you'll be introduced to later on. So once you get to know your guide, get to know him or her really well, and that then, especially if you do a lot of interaction, a lot of channeling, a lot of linking, and that you'll be introduced to your gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper keeps you safe from anything negative, and that. But my gatekeeper, and that he wears multiple hats, and that as well, and that he keeps us safe, and also he gives me hints as to like his idea of me doing streams, and that, and my guy thought that was a beautiful idea because my guy knows how I love sharing, teaching, whatever, and that, and but it took a while for me to get to know my guide, more and more, because you can't learn everything about your guide in the first setting, so to speak. Okay, it takes time. Okay, thanks. I was just told it's a lifelong adventure. Then I was told it's a lifelong journey, and to learn more about your spirit guide, to get to know that person more, or if you got more than one guide, and that takes time to get to know them more, and that. But like I said, for those who are calling out to their guides for the very first time, if you call it once or twice and you don't get a response, don't get discouraged. It means that the timing's not right, but continue to call out, and that. But make sure that you're in a place where you're not going to be interrupted, that your chance to meet your guide and that is not interrupted, that you will, be quietness of mind and quietness of heart, because that's when the link can be the strongest. And it's usually when the link is the strongest, that's the key time for your guide to go, hey, here I am, You know, like it's when you get whenever the link is broken, and that uh, that can be discouraging for yourself, but it can also be discouraging for your guide too. Do you ever hear or see or hear from a few guys at a time? Uh, well, I just have the one guide, and well, actually, sorry. Uh, so try again. Um, Usually, I get two messages from two different. So I never get messages from the two at the same time, and then it's usually separated. And then because see, that's something that they make sure of is if there's more than one message, they try to divide it for me. But sometimes, especially, I'll let you know, Tinker. At times, I'll get messages uh, from from my one guide, and that he'll send me a thought, and then he'll change his mind and send me another thought, and then change his mind again and send me another thought. So at times it feels as though I get three thoughts bang at the same time, and I have to separate them and that. But usually he lets me know the idea that he prefers, and he tries to make it as simple as possible. He doesn't like to complicate issues, but um, usually that's something else too that you learn, Tinker, is um, if you get messages from your guide or guides, and that and you feel like it's coming all at the same time, and that just ask your guide or guides, okay, I'm getting thoughts all at the same time. Can you please separate them for me and give them to me individually, please? And that way I can understand it better. Because if I get thoughts all at the same time, I get confused big time. And that, but bless you for that question. And that, but like I said, at first, for those who have never been introduced to your guide yet, you keep asking and asking and asking. Don't lose heart, okay? Because guys, they prefer to have a strong link with you, so that you and that person can get to know each other better. Because it's like when you let's say if you meet someone for the very first time, and you know nothing about them and they don't think nothing about you. And you keep the conversation short, sweet, and to the point, all that kind of stuff. And that they say, okay, well, I'll let you know. I'll give me a call. I'll give you a call, whatever, and that, and we'll catch up in that. And uh, when it comes to the conversation, we like to separate it time wise. You better get confused. I used to get confused with my daughter and my son wanted. I can imagine. It, 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 it feels like the wheels up here are starting to strip a little bit. Oh yeah. When I get multiple thoughts at the same time, this thing up here goes into overtime. Sometimes it feels like it's about ready to burn out. Yeah. Well, going by the energy of your text taker, I say you're doing an amazing job so far. But anyway, like I said, it takes patience and that. But I'll tell you one thing: at the end of the day, once you get introduced to your guide, you get to know them better, and that you get to know your gatekeeper better, and know more about them. After that, the relationship that you build is, words cannot describe it. You know, because you think I waited all these years to be introduced to such a beautiful person. Like, why couldn't I have met this beautiful person years ago when I was going through some really hard times? Why wait up until now? Answer: because it was not part of the spiritual schedule. Okay, it was destined for us to learn something years ago, and so we're matured enough now to be introduced to someone of an angelic realm. rather than on the earth plane. And that because when you come to think of it, we should actually feel lucky, not to mention blessed, that we've been chosen by God and that to be linked and that to such a wonderful person in the spirit world, and also to have a gatekeeper, and that to have two people, helping us minute by minute, day by day. To me, that actually feels more like a privilege than it does a relationship. I guess it is absolutely fantastic. And the best part of it all is that when I leave the physical body and I leave the earth plane, and that I'll be introduced to these beautiful people, and you wouldn't believe the size of the hug I'll give both of them. It'll be beautiful. So anyway, and I just wanted just to let you know my perception of. Oh yeah, what did I say? When I was younger, I see more about my. That how you were crazy. Tinker, boy, do I know that feeling. And then, Tinker, that's the problem. Is a lot of people. You see, you're like a lot of other people that I know, and that when you're younger, I feel that you are so misunderstood because of what you could do. You are so misunderstood. Well, you know something? Nowadays, now that you know more about what you're able to do, and you have heavenly people to back you up, and that look at it this way: you were put through that nonsense in the past for a reason. Now, consider yourself being rewarded. You're being rewarded with knowledge, but not knowledge of the earth plane. You're being rewarded with knowledge of the heavenly realms, and you can't get much higher than that. And it's on the spiritual schedule, the spiritual agenda for you to go through what you're going through. And now that you're learning more about, what's going on in the spirit, and that is on the spiritual the schedule agenda as well. And the more you learn to see the way they look at it, the way I'm getting is the more you learn about spirit, the more you're gifted, the more you're blessed. And the one thing, the one thing that people on the earth planet cannot do is to take away what you have now. Because what you have now not only belongs to you, but you have your spirit guide to not only teach you more, but also to bless you. And also to say, hey, Tinker, of the gifts that you have, just like anybody else, and that of the gifts that you have, and that people ridiculed you years ago, big deal. And that you're using the same gift now to help others and to help yourself, and they can never, ever, ever take that away from you. It's kind of saying, hey, you make fun of me in the past? Well, guess what? Nowadays, you're eating crow. I know my guys have saved me from dying years ago. You see, Tinker, of what happened to you in the past was on the spiritual schedule. But it was also on the spiritual schedule, on the spiritual agenda, that you had to stay on the earth plane for a reason, and that reason, okay, is to basically to learn more, but also to serve in whatever ways you can. That is on the spiritual agenda as well, and I can tell by the energy coming from your text that that the more your eyes open to what spirit has to show you, the more that you can do. That is on the spiritual agenda as well. I'll tell you one thing, Tinker, if you're to see the size of the spiritual agenda, spiritual schedule that is just for you, it would not only blow your mind, it would blow my mind. It's something we can never comprehend, at least not down here. But the amount of blessings that come from that schedule is just something that can only be experienced in the heavenly realms. But until then, I say, take her like anybody else. Then keep up the good work, keep up the good spiritual fight. Because the more you learn, the more you'll be blessed, and the more you'll be blessed, the more you'll be rewarded. And I really believe that in the end times, we will be rewarded. All because we wanted to learn, and we wanted to be introduced to Spirit more, and our Spirit guides are going to make sure that the things that we are to do, they will help us. They will help us to do what we have to do, but help us to learn. See, it's a non-stop thing. But to me, the more I talk about it, the more excited I get. And I can tell that you're just itching and itching and itching, you know, to learn more. Same here. And that. Because if you were to tell me 6 months ago I'd be doing a stream on spirit guides, I would have thought you were off your gourd. But once I learned more about it, I think it's not scary about it at all. Rather, it's exciting. Yeah, it can get exciting. At times I feel like going to the amusement park would be boring compared to this. Oh, absolutely. So anyway, so yeah, so like I said, it's an ongoing learning thing. Like I said, if you call out your guide and he or she has not answered, don't lose heart, don't get discouraged, and that they will eventually answer. And also too, when your guide's around you, and that they might not send thoughts to you, they might do other things as well to let you know, hey, I'm around. Okay? Because I read upon that if you find, I don't know if you probably already know this, Tinker, or not. This is something that a few other people have mentioned, like Derek and Nicky, and that if you, yep, that's oh, okay, yeah. Best part about it, Tinker, is after I get up, you can watch this again. You want? There's something to laugh at. But you see, whenever your spirit guide's around you, and that there's more than one way that they will want to communicate with you, or just let you know they're around. Okay, and each thing that they do for you or leave for you, okay, is considered not only a sign, it's considered a gift. Okay, and that is either uh, I don't know if you've ever found a white feather around your house or it's in or outside your house. You've ever found a white feather or white feathers, around, or if you've ever found in the most oddest locations, if you've ever found coins, like a penny, a nickel, whatever, okay, and you think, where the heck did that coin come from? I don't remember seeing that there before. That's weird. Guess what? If you find a feather, you find a coin, and a bird did not fly through the house and bang into something, or no one didn't lose, they didn't lose their chains because they're clumsy. Whenever you see a feather or a coin out of nowhere, okay, that's your spirit guide that you know that he or she is around, and not only around, but that spirit guide is observing what you're doing and is encouraging you to keep doing what you're doing with the right heart attitude. In other words, keep working, knowing that you're contributing and with the kind of heart attitude and that's just saying, hey, I'm around, I'm watching you, and I'm proud of you, and I love you. Now there are other things too that they've been known. They've actually been known to move things at times to get your attention. Just little subtle things, and that's them saying, "Hey, I'm here. You want to chat? Want to talk about old times?" That kind of intention. And but yeah, whenever you see these little subtle things, those are gifts, not just signs. They're gifts, and also only when and for some people, whenever they see their cats look at something and you can't see it, and well, that might not necessarily be a spirit guide. That could be just a spirit person. But anyway, yeah. So like I said, it's amazing what spirit guides can do once you get introduced to them, and that. So it's kind of like being reintroduced to an old friend. That's what it feels like sometimes. I have a hand towel dispensers turned on and towels came out. I just spirit guide. Give me your hand. It sounds like that you guys got a sense of humor. I like that. The same with mine. It's pretty amazing. Oh yeah, they're the best. Now, whenever I notice something odd, I notice my guide doing it. The first thing that I say to my guide, I'm pretty sure that he finds it comical when I do say this, is whenever he does something, that first thing I say to him is, "Bless you." That's the first thing I say. And sometimes, clairaudiently, I can hear him giggling. I go, "All right." It's amazing the things they'll do. So, anyway, Taker, I better get going. So, see what the next topic is going to be and that. But I'm glad I did this one on the guides because like my guide, I feel like he's right behind me. And yeah, I take something. Whenever I come on, when I do live stream, I actually look forward to you coming on the chat. I look forward to that. You know, you're a beautiful person, just like all the other people in our group. You're all beautiful, and that, and what I'll do is I'll leave a description in the description below, in the comments below, uh, uh, the link to the group, the mediumship and psychic support group. I'll put that again in the thing below, and this that way, if you want to join the group, learn more about mediumship and psychic support and stuff like that, you're more than welcome. I know I've had the support of Taker, man, totally amazing person. Never the best. So, anyway, people, thanks so much. If you enjoyed this stream, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, hit the bell thing. That way, every time I come on live, you'll get a notification. If you liked this stream, hit the thumbs up and let me know what you liked about it. But if there's something you didn't like about it, okay, let me know why. Okay, and if you have any suggestions for any future streams, leave them in the comments below. That'd be fantastic. Because I'm here to learn and to teach, and that's it. And if people get something out of this, especially spiritually, even emotionally, thumbs up. That's the whole idea. So anyway, lovely people, got to go. So as I say at the end of every stream, love and light to all. Bye bye.